The night on the frontier world of Astron 6 was colder than any winter in the old human lands. Snow moved across the plains like white ghosts, and the wind howled against the metal walls of the Harland Ranch inside the lonely ranch house. One man lived a life of quiet routine. His name was Cole Harland, and he had once been a soldier before fate pushed him into the silence of the frontier. Now he was only a widowed rancher holding on to land and memories that no longer warmed his heart. Cole moved through the rooms with a slow, steady pace. He prepared a simple meal and lit the old fire furnace which groaned from age. Every Christmas night felt the same to him since his wife had passed, a long cold night, without voices, without laughter, and without hope. He expected this night to be no different. Just another silent chapter in his lonely life on a frozen world, far from Earth. Outside, the wind rose with a sudden force, and the scanners mounted on the roof flickered with warning flashes. Cole lifted his head. Visitors were rare out here. Unwanted visitors were far more common. He stepped toward the security monitor, which showed a small glowing dot approaching through the snowstorm. At first he thought it must be a lost drone or a malfunctioning vehicle. But then the shape became clear, a person struggling against the storm. Barely able to stand, Cole felt a pull in his chest. No one should be outside in weather like this. He grabbed his coat and stepped out into the howling cold. The air cut through him like icy knives, but he pushed forward. The figure collapsed just a few steps from his porch. Cole hurried to lift them. It was a woman, thin, exhausted, trembling, her clothes torn from travel through harsh, wild terrain. She looked up at him with fear and hope mixed in her eyes. Cole carried her inside. He set her near the fire. Slowly, warmth returned to her face. She opened her mouth and whispered with a voice weak from cold and hardship, "I have nowhere to go, sir, but I can cook." Her words surprised Cole, not the request for shelter, not the fact she was alone in this deadly weather, but the way she offered something simple and humble. Instead of begging for safety, she offered work, she offered value, she offered a reason to accept her presence. Cole studied her carefully. She was young, but her eyes carried heavy stories he could not yet read. Her hands shook not only from the cold, but from something deeper, fear, loss, running. He wanted to ask who she was, where she had come from, what danger chased her onto his land. But he could see she was on the edge of collapse, so he nodded once. A firm gesture. "Stay here, warm yourself, rest. We will talk after." She watched him with grateful eyes, the kind that carried silent storms behind them. Cole felt something shift inside him, a feeling he had not known in many years, the feeling of responsibility, of purpose, of someone depending on him. As she warmed herself by the fire, the scanners outside beeped again, a soft, distant sound barely noticeable, but Cole heard it. He turned toward the monitor, another signal in the storm, moving fast across the frozen fields. Too fast for a person on foot, too controlled to be an accident. He narrowed his eyes. Something was out there. Something searching, something not natural to the peaceful ranch land. Cole looked back at the woman. She had closed her eyes, but her body was tense as if she sensed the growing danger. He realized then that she was not simply lost, she was fleeing something, and whatever she escaped had followed her across the snow. The rancher placed a hand on the window frame and stared into the storm. Wind howled across the plains. Shadows danced between the icy hills. Cole Harland had expected a silent Christmas night. Instead, he had a stranger under his roof and an unknown threat moving toward his land. The cold frontier was never kind, but tonight it carried a new story. A story that began with a whisper, "I have nowhere to go, but I can cook." And Cole knew this night was only the beginning. Something bigger was coming. Something that would change both of their lives forever. The fire crackled inside the ranch house, sending soft waves of warmth across the wooden floor. The stranger, now resting on a simple blanket near the hearth, opened her eyes slowly. Her breathing had steadied, but her body still carried the deep tremble of someone who had run far beyond her limits. Cole Harland watched her with a steady, cautious gaze he had taken in travelers before, but none who arrived in the heart of a deadly storm, with eyes full of fear and secrets. She spoke at last, her voice quiet but firm. "Thank you for saving me, sir. My name is Nova. I can help you with cooking and cleaning if you let me stay, just until the storm passes." Cole nodded, but his mind was far from calm. Outside, the scanners continued to flicker with soft warning glows. Something in the snow was moving with intention, not wandering, not lost, searching. He kept this concern hidden for. Now Nova was fragile and exhaustion pressed heavily on her. He stepped toward the stove and added more fuel. The warmth grew. Nova watched the flames with a strange intensity, as if she feared they might vanish at any moment and leave her alone in darkness again. Cole finally spoke. "You said you have nowhere to go. Why are you out here? This land is near empty for hundreds of miles." Nova lowered her gaze. "I cannot say yet. Not until I know I can trust you, but I will not harm you. I only need a place to stay. I only need a chance to live." Her words were honest yet guarded. Cole respected the instinct to protect oneself. He had lived long enough to understand pain hidden behind silence. Still, something about her troubled him. She was carrying a secret so heavy it bent her spirit, and someone out there was coming for her. The scanners beeped again, a sharper sound, a closer approach. Cole walked to the control screen. A small blinking signal moved slowly along the border of his land. It was no storm pattern, and no natural creature moved that steadily in such cold. Nova stood on unsteady feet when she heard the tone. Her eyes widened with recognition rather than surprise. She whispered a single sentence that made Cole feel the walls tighten around them. "They have found me." Cole turned to her. "Who was looking for you?" Nova swallowed hard, her voice trembling. "I escaped from them. They will not let me go." "Please, I will explain, but not now." "Please, sir, do not let them take me." Her plea was raw and desperate. Cole felt something old awaken inside him. Protectiveness, duty. The same emotions he carried long ago on battlefields before the wars took everything from him. He gestured for her to sit again. "No one will take you from this place tonight," he said with quiet strength. "But you must tell me what you know. If danger is coming, I need to be ready." Nova sat by the fire, her hands clasped together. At first she could not speak, only breathe in short, uneven waves. Finally she whispered her truth. "I came from a research base far from here. They do experiments, terrible experiments. Humans are their tools, their property. I was part of one of their trials, but I escaped before they completed their work. I do not know what they want from me now, but they never release anyone." Never. Cole felt a chill deeper than the winter outside. He had heard stories of remote corporate bases pushing beyond moral limits, but he had never expected one of their victims to collapse at his doorstep on Christmas night. Nova continued. "I fled across the ice fields. I thought I could disappear in the storm, but their drones can track heat movement, even heartbeats. I do not know how long I lasted. My body was giving up. Then I saw the lights of your ranch. You saved me, sir. You are the only reason I am still alive." Her voice cracked with emotion she had been holding back for far too long. Cole sensed full truth was even darker than what she shared, but he would not force her to speak more tonight. Outside, the scanners pulsed again, this time brighter, closer. Whatever hunted her was approaching fast through the frozen dark. Cole walked to the window and stared into the storm. Snow flew across the plains like sheets of white fire. Somewhere beyond that swirling veil, machines moved with cold intent. Machines guided by humans who saw Nova not as a person, but as a test result to reclaim. He turned to her. "You are safe for now, but this ranch is no fortress. If they come here, we will need to fight or flee, and I do not plan on running." Nova looked at him with surprise and gratitude. "Why would you risk yourself for me?" Cole answered with calm, steady resolve. "Because no human deserves to be hunted. Not on my land, not on any land, and because tonight you asked for help with honesty and courage. That is enough for me." New silence filled the room. Not empty, not cold. A silence of heavy choices and rising danger. Part 2 ended, but the night was far from over. The hunters moved closer, and the rancher and the runaway prepared for a storm far greater than the snow outside. The storm outside grew louder, as if the wind itself carried warnings across the frozen plains. Inside the ranch house, the air felt heavy with unspoken truths and growing danger. Cole Harland stood near the window watching the scanner lights reflect Against the snow, Nova sat close to the fire, her hands tight together, her breath shaking with every inhale. The warmth of the room could not melt the fear that wrapped around her like chains. Cole finally stepped away from the window and faced her. "You said they experimented on people," he said in a calm, steady voice. "But I need to understand more. If danger is coming to my land, I must know what we are facing." Nova hesitated. Her eyes flickered with memories she wished she could erase. She looked at the fire as if hoping it would burn away her past. At last she spoke, her voice soft but clear. "I will tell you everything. I owe you that. You took me in when no one else would." She shifted on the blanket and began her story. "I was born on a mining colony far from here. Life there was hard. Food was scarce, education was simple and controlled. But when recruiters from the corporation arrived promising better futures, many of us believed them. They said we would receive training and work. We trusted them. We were wrong." Cole listened with silent focus. His jaw tightened at the word corporation. He had seen their reach stretch across half the galaxy, swallowing weaker worlds under the mask of progress. Nova continued. "They took us to a research base hidden beneath the ice fields. Once we arrived, they separated us into groups. Some never returned. Others came back changed, their eyes empty, their minds hollow. I was placed in a group labeled Cognitive Adaptability. We were trained in cooking, cleaning, basic tasks. But it was not training, it was conditioning. They watched how we reacted to orders, how we responded to hunger and praise, how our minds shifted when they controlled our environment." Cole felt his chest tighten as he imagined rows of young people tested like machines. His past as a soldier had shown him many horrors, but something about Nova's quiet suffering struck deeper than he expected. She lifted her sleeve. A thin mark ran along her wrist, glowing faintly under the ranch lights. "This is their tag. It tracks location, heart rate, stress levels, everything. I broke the signal when I escaped, but I know they can still detect me if they get too close. Tonight they are close." Scanners outside let out a long, steady pulse. Closer indeed. Nova looked at the door with fear. Cole moved to reassure her. "You are safe here for now. I have dealt with worse than a few corporate patrol units. But I need to know one more thing. Why did they chase you so far instead of letting you go?" Nova's voice trembled as she answered. "Because I am not just part of an experiment. I am the experiment that succeeded. The others obeyed without question once their conditioning was complete. But I resisted. No matter what they did, I kept a part of myself hidden. They saw that as a flaw at first, but later they saw it as an opportunity. A human who can follow orders but still think, still adapt, still create." She paused and touched her chest. "They told me I was special. They said they wanted to improve the human mind. But their true goal was control. The perfect obedient worker. The perfect asset." Cole watched her in silence. The fire lit her face in warm gold, while the truth around her felt cold. As the storm outside, Nova continued. "When they realized I would not break, they planned something else. A procedure, a final stage. I heard one doctor say this one will change everything. That night I ran. I slipped through vents and tunnels, crossed the open ice, and for days the storm hid me, until my body collapsed near your ranch." Cole stepped closer and placed a heavy coat around her shoulders. His voice was low, steady, and full of something she had not felt in years. "Human kindness. You did the right thing by running. No one deserves to be turned into a tool, and no one deserves to be hunted like this." Nova looked up at him, her eyes shining with a mix of relief and sorrow. "But they will not stop. They want me back. They will come for me and for anyone who protects me." Cole nodded slowly. "Then let them come. I do not bend to corporations. I never have, and I never will. This ranch has seen war before it can face it again." Outside, the scanners pulsed with rising speed. Something moved through the snow, something drawing closer with each passing breath. Nova whispered, "They are here." Cole lifted his old soldier gear from the closet and prepared for what approached beneath the storm. Whatever happened next, their fate was now tied together. The truth had been spoken. There was no turning back. The storm rolled across the plains like a living beast, as if the wind itself warned the ranch that danger approached. Cole Harlan stood near the window, his hand resting on the old rifle he once used during the frontier wars. Its weight felt familiar and steady, a reminder of the man he used to be before time and sorrow pushed him into silent life. Nova watched him with anxious eyes, her body tense, her breathing sharp. She knew the hunters were close, too close. The scanners pulsed again with bright red light spreading across the wall. Cole stepped forward and read the signs, 3 signals, fast, precise. Unnatural for human boots in a storm like this. These were patrol units, machines guided by men who cared nothing for life, only for control. Nova whispered, "If they find me, they will not leave witnesses. You should not fight for me. Just let me run. I do not want you to suffer because of me." Cole shook his head slowly. His voice carried calm strength. "Running will not save you. They will track you again and again until they have you locked inside their walls. No, tonight we make our stand here. You are not alone anymore." His words warmed something inside Nova, a feeling she had forgotten. Hope. Cole turned to the barn and opened a hidden storage panel beneath the floor. Nova watched with surprise as he lifted old gear out of the crate. Energy shields, portable ion traps, armor patched with marks of battles long past. Cole spoke as he prepared the tools. "After the frontier wars ended, I kept what the army allowed me to keep. These tools helped me survive back then. They will help us now." Nova stepped closer. "Sir, I cannot fight. I was never trained. All I know is cooking, cleaning, helping. Nothing more." Cole met her eyes with a steady look. "Everyone can do more than they believe. You survived their base. You escaped their control. You crossed an ice field that kills most travelers within a day. You are stronger than you think." Nova. The scanners beeped again. The signals had now reached the ranch borders. Cole moved quickly, securing windows and setting up small traps along the doorway. He placed Nova behind a table stacked with tools and supplies. "If things turn bad, stay low and stay quiet," he said. But Nova shook her head. "I cannot hide while you fight alone. I must help somehow." Cole opened a cabinet and handed her a small satchel of kitchen ingredients. This caught Nova off guard. "Sir, what am I supposed to do with this?" Cole smiled faintly. "You said you can cook. Then let us use what you know. The storm is thick, vision will be low, smoke and scent can distract their machines. Make something that blinds them." Nova felt her heart race. The request seemed strange, yet she understood. Her hands moved quickly, combining spices, oils, powders. Heat from a small burner released sharp scents that rose into the air. Nova created a chemical cloud strong enough to confuse scanners and sensors. She poured the mixture into 3 small metal cups. Cole placed them near the pango door. When triggered, the cloud would burst outward. Outside, dark shadows moved through the snow, their shape almost human, but their steps too exact too. Steady metal figures approached, drones with weapons glowing faintly under layers of frost. The ranch house shook as something slammed against the outer gate. Cole took position near the window, his eyes sharp and focused. "This is it, Nova. Stay ready." The first drone stepped into view, its red eye scanning. Cole pressed a small switch. Nova's smoke trap burst into the air, creating a thick swirling cloud that spread across the yard. The drone staggered, its sensors flickering in that moment. Cole fired a burst of energy, striking its core. The machine collapsed into the snow, but the battle had only begun. More figures appeared through the storm. 3, then 5, then more. They surrounded the ranch with silent mechanical hunger. Nova crouched behind the table, her heart pounding as she prepared another mix. Cole fought with calculated precision. Each strike measured, each shot deliberate. The ranch echoed with muffled impacts and flashes of blue light. Despite the danger, something fierce awakened inside Nova. She refused to be helpless. She refused to let Cole fight alone. She crawled to the window and tossed another smoke blend outside. The cloud exploded into bright colors. The drone staggered again. Cole seized the moment and disabled 2 more. One drone forced its way through the door. Cole swung the butt of his rifle, striking it down. Nova grabbed a metal pan and hit the drone again until it stilled. Her breath came fast. Her arms shook, but she had helped. She had fought back. When the last drone fell, the air grew still again. The storm outside continued, but the threat around them faded into wreckage, scattered across the snow. Cole lowered his weapon, breathing heavily. Nova looked at him with awe. "We survived," she whispered. Cole nodded. "But they know where you are now. More will come, stronger units, maybe even soldiers." Nova felt a cold fear rise. "What do we do now?" Cole stepped forward and placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We prepare, and we do not give up." Tonight proved something important. You are not a burden, Nova. You are a fighter, and this ranch is not falling without a battle. The storm howled again, as if echoing his vow. The night was far from over, and the war for their freedom had only just begun. The storm settled for a brief moment, as if the land itself paused to breathe after the violent attack. Inside the ranch, the air was thick with smoke and the metallic scent of broken machines. Nova stood near the window, her hands trembling not from the cold, but from the truth of what she had just faced. She had fought, she had survived, but she knew this was only the beginning. Cole Harlan moved through the room, checking every corner with trained caution, a habit from a life he never fully left behind. He finally lowered his rifle and looked at Nova. "You did well tonight," he said in a steady voice that carried strength rather than praise. "Better than many soldiers I once knew." Nova shook her head. "I was only scared. Fear pushed me," Cole replied. "Fear makes people run. But you stood your ground. That is not fear, that is courage." His words warmed her spirit for a moment. Then reality returned. "Sir, they will come again, stronger than before. What will we do when they send men in armor, not drones? I do not want harm to fall on you or this place." Cole walked to the door of the barn and gestured for Nova to follow. "There is something you must see," he said. "Something I have kept hidden for many years." Nova stepped carefully through the destroyed yard where drone pieces lay half buried in the snow. The barn door opened with a loud creak, revealing a dark space filled with old equipment. At first she saw nothing unusual, just tools, ropes, metal crates. But when Cole lifted a latch and slid aside a wooden panel, Nova gasped. A hidden chamber stretched beneath the barn floor, filled with advanced weapons, armor, and technology she had never seen. Hala shields, energy blades, pulse traps, device after device rested in silent rows, glowing faintly. Under dim lights, it looked like a secret armory from an old war story. Nova stared with wide eyes. "Sir, what is all this?" Cole stepped into the chamber, his boots echoing softly. "This ranch was once a supply point during the frontier wars," he said. "Before I settled here, I fought as a captain in the outer defense forces. We were stationed in harsh lands like this. Frozen places, empty places. Places where the enemy would not expect a fight. When the war ended, they ordered us to dispose of equipment. But I kept what I could, not because I wanted more battles, but because I knew one day danger might return to these forgotten worlds." He looked at Nova with a calm expression. "That day has come." Nova walked deeper into the chamber, running her fingers gently over the strange devices. She felt a mix of hope and fear. Hope because they were not defenseless. Fear because the need for such weapons meant the threat was larger than she imagined. "Sir," she whispered, "will these be enough to stop them?" Cole replied, "Alone, they will not. But combined with strategy, they will give us a fighting chance. These corporations rely on fear and intimidation. They do not expect resistance from a ranch. They believe they can walk in and take whatever they want. We will show them they are wrong." Nova looked at the armory with new understanding. "But why help me so much? You barely know me. You owe me nothing." Cole paused. His eyes softened. "Once long ago, I could not save someone I cared about. War took her from me. I could not stop it. I could not protect her. Tonight when you collapsed at my door, I saw that memory return. I will not fail again. Not when I still have strength left to stand." Nova felt tears gather, but she held them back. There was no room for weakness. Now she nodded. "Then show me how to help. Teach me what I need to do." Cole gave her a small defensive shield, light and smooth, designed for quick movement. He began explaining how to activate its protective field. Nova listened carefully, her mind adapting faster than either expected. As she learned, she felt something awakening within her, a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. Cole noticed it too. You learn quickly, he said, quicker than most recruits I trained. Did the corporation enhance your mind? More than you told me. Nova hesitated. I do not know what they changed. Sometimes I remember things fast. Sometimes I sense danger before it arrives, but I cannot control it. It feels like a part of me that is not fully mine. Cole nodded. Whatever they did, we will use it to survive, and later we will find a way to free you from their influence. They trained through the rising wind, setting traps, preparing defenses, strengthening the ranch. The night grew darker, but inside the barn a new light formed. Not from weapons, but from determination. Nova and Cole stood together at the doorway, looking out at the endless white plains. More enemies would come, it was certain, but they were no longer afraid. Nova whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me." Cole answered without hesitation, "Thank you for giving me a reason to fight again." The storm howled once more, a warning of battles yet to come. But now the ranch was ready, and so were they. The night deepened over the frozen plains, and the wind carried a rising tension that neither Cole nor Nova could ignore. Inside the barn, the hidden armory glowed with faint blue light reflecting across the metal walls like the heartbeat of a waiting beast. Cole stood at the center, checking each weapon, each shield, each trap with the focus of a soldier who had walked through too many battles to underestimate any coming threat. Nova stood beside him, gripping the small shield he had given her earlier. Its smooth surface pulsed with a soft light, as if sensing her steady fear and new determination. Cole looked at her with a calm strength. "They will come before dawn," he said. "Not drones this time, not machines, men armed, trained, relentless. They will not ask questions. They will not negotiate. They will try to take you by force. But we will not let them." Nova swallowed her fear and nodded. "I am ready," she said, though her heart thundered like the storm outside. Cole gave a firm, approving nod. Courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to stand. Anyway, the scanners on the barn wall suddenly flashed bright red. A long, steady tone filled the air. Cole stepped forward. "They are here." Nova moved close to the entrance, her hands tightening around the shield. Cold air swept in as Cole opened the barn door just enough to see the horizon. Shapes moved through the storm, dark figures, dozens. Their armor reflected pale moonlight leaking through the clouds. They carried rifles humming with charged energy. They marched with cold precision across the snowy land like an iron wave. Nova felt a strange buzzing inside her skull, a vibration, a pattern, a whisper that echoed from a place she had tried to forget. Cole noticed her sudden stillness. "Nova, what is happening?" She pressed her hands to her head. "I can hear them, not voices but signals, codes, frequencies. The implant inside me is reacting. It is trying to connect, trying to obey. But I do not want to." Cole stepped close and touched her shoulder. "Fight it. You are not theirs anymore. Use what you feel. Do not surrender to it. Turn it against them." Nova breathed deeply, slow, steady, focused. The buzzing grew louder until it filled her entire mind. She felt the signals pushing at her like invisible hands, but instead of breaking, she leaned into the sensation. She reached out mentally, not to obey, but to interfere. Suddenly the marching soldiers paused. Their helmets flickered, their weapon lights flicked on and off. Fields of static rippled around their suits. Nova gasped as she realized she had jammed their signals, not fully, not perfectly, but enough to weaken their unity. Cole watched with awe. "Nova, you just disrupted their entire tactical line." How Nova shook her head, "I do not know, but I can feel their commands. If I push harder, I might break their coordination completely." The soldiers recovered and continued advancing. But now their formation was uneven, their movements less sharp. Cole seized the moment and activated the ranch's defensive traps. Hidden mines sent bursts of light into the storm. Energy barriers flickered to life along the fences. He took position beside Nova. "This is our moment. Stay behind me when they close in. We fight together." First wave of soldiers reached the barriers. Blue sparks exploded as they tried to breach through. Cole fired with precision. Energy blasts cut across the snow, lighting the night. Nova raised her shield and felt strength surge through her. Her mind still linked to the interference signals. She pushed again. The soldiers. Helmets glitched. Their visors darkened. Their suits jerked like puppets with tangled strings. Cole advanced with the control of an old warrior. He struck down 2 soldiers in quick succession. Another charged from the side. Nova stepped forward her shield glowing bright. The soldier fired. The blast hit the shield and bounced back, knocking him into the snow. Nova gasped in shock. She had never imagined she could stop a trained soldier. Cole gave her a sharp approving nod. Good. Keep that shield high. Stay aware. You are doing it. Nova, you are truly doing it. The battle grew heavier. More soldiers poured through the storm. Their steps loud, their voices distorted by static. But Nova continued pushing the interference. It drained her. Her legs shook. Her breath grew short. But she refused to stop. Cole fought fiercely, using every skill learned in years of war. Side by side, they held the ranch against impossible odds. Then the largest soldier stepped forward, a commander wearing reinforced armor. His voice boomed through a mechanical speaker. Return the asset, or this land will fall. Nova felt a sharp stab inside her mind. The implant triggered by his presence. He carried the master code. The command meant to shut her down. She fell to her knees. Gripping her head in agony, Cole ran to her. Nova, stay with me. Do not give in. She forced her eyes open, tears freezing on her cheeks from the cold. I can break it, but I need more time. Cole stepped between her and the commander, raising his rifle. Then, I will give you time. The commander charged. Cole met him head on. Metal clashed. Energy sparks burst into the freezing air. Nova concentrated her remaining strength, reaching for the code inside the commander's signal. If she could break it, she could destroy their control once and for all. Her breath slowed, her mind steadied. She pushed. The signal cracked. The commander staggered. Every soldier in the field halted as their network collapsed. Nova collapsed too, but she whispered, I did it. Cole caught the commander off guard, delivering one final strike that sent the armored figure falling into the snow. Silence spread across the plains. The enemy forces stood frozen, broken, without their code. The battle was over. But Nova lay unconscious, her life fading as the broken implant continued to pulse with hostile energy. Cole lifted her in his arms, his voice filled with fear and determination. Stay with me, Nova. Please stay. I will save you. I swear it. The storm raged around them as he carried her back to the ranch. The final stand had been won, but the true fight for Nova's life had only just begun. The storm howled over the plains of Astron 6, as if the sky itself grieved for the girl fading in Cole. Harlan's arms. Nova hung limp against his chest, her breathing weak, her skin cold, her pulse a fragile whisper beneath his fingers. Cole forced his legs through the deep snow, each step heavy with fear. He had fought wars. He had survived wounds that would break most men. But nothing terrified him like the thought of losing her now, not after everything they had endured. Together he brought her into the ranch house and laid her gently beside the fire. The warmth touched her pale skin, yet her body did not respond. Her implant continued to pulse, faint red light under her wrist, a poisonous reminder that her freedom was still chained to the technology forced into her. Cole knelt beside her and rested a hand on her head. Stay with me, Nova. Please, do not let the world take another person from me. Her eyes fluttered for a moment. She tried to speak, but no sound came. Her breath rasped in shallow waves. She was slipping away. Cole rose with sudden determination and moved to the barn. He tore open crates and dug through layers of old equipment. Years ago, the army had trusted him with battlefield tools, used to neutralize enemy implants. He prayed one still worked. Inside a small metal box, he found a worn device shaped like a ring with glowing runes along its surface. A neural disruptor, a tool meant to disable hostile signals. It might save her, or it might end her. Returned to the house and sat beside Nova. Her breath was even weaker, now her body stiffening. He held the disruptor in shaking hands. He spoke softly, his voice cracking. Nova, you fought so hard. You gave me something I thought I had lost forever. Someone to protect, someone who trusted me. I will not lose you, not tonight, not ever. With a silent prayer, he placed the disruptor over the glowing mark on her wrist. The device activated with a soft hum. Light spread across her arm like liquid silver. Nova arched in pain. Her breath halted. The room filled with a pulse of bright energy that shook the walls. Then silence. Cole froze. He stared at her. Did it work? Was she alive? Had he saved her? Or had he destroyed the last spark within her? Seconds stretched into what felt like hours. Then Nova gasped a deep, painful breath. Her eyes opened slowly. Clear, alive, human. Cole let out a breath he had been holding since the battle. Relief washed over him, so powerful his knees almost gave way. Nova sat up with Cole's help, confusion and exhaustion in her gaze. "What happened?" she whispered. Cole smiled a tired, gentle smile. "You are free now. The implant is dead. They can never control you again." Nova blinked as the truth settled into her for the first time. In her life she felt her mind truly quiet. No background hum, no commands, no pressure. Only her own thoughts, her own heart, her own freedom. Tears formed in her eyes. She looked at Cole. "You saved me." Why? Cole answered with a soft, calm voice. "Because you deserved a chance to live. Because no one should face the world alone. And because you walked into my life and reminded me that I am still human. You gave me hope again." Nova, she reached for his hand, her fingers warm now, alive. "Thank you, Sir Cole. Thank you." He gently helped her stand and guided her to the table. On it, he had placed simple ingredients: bread, vegetables, herbs, the things she had used to bring warmth to the ranch on her first night. Cole spoke quietly. "Tonight it is my turn to cook. Sit. Rest. This Christmas we begin again." Nova watched him prepare the meal, his movements steady, peaceful, filled with a quiet joy she had never seen in him before. For the first time she felt safe. Truly safe. Outside, the storm-calmed snow drifted softly across the plains, as if blessing the small ranch with a new beginning. The soldiers were gone, the machines silent, the threat erased. Nova whispered, "I thought I had nowhere to go, but now I do." Cole looked at her across the warm glow of the fire. "Yes, Nova, you have a home now." Together, they sat at the table, sharing the first peaceful meal they had known in a long time. Christmas night wrapped around them like a gentle blanket. Two lost souls finding warmth and purpose where neither expected. Frontier was still harsh, the universe still wide, but in this small ranch on a frozen planet, two lives had changed forever. A new story had begun, a story of courage, a story of humanity, a story of hope. Nova and Cole, no longer alone.